Strictly Hockey. I'm Jacob Brown, joined here with Steve Cashin and Adam Kupperman. It's playoff time. We're getting a lot of these playoff matchups getting confirmed. The Rangers are one of those playoff teams. They're in. It's been a great season for us. I've had a lot of good time watching it, but also we got Panthers and Lightning. So we got a lot of arguing to do there. Well, actually not arguing here, but talking about other people that are on the other side. But so there's going to be a lot of good playoff stuff. But let's talk about that first. That Panthers and Lightning playoff series has been confirmed. If the Lightning win tonight, they get home ice. Here's the thing. I know, Adam loves watching me talk about the Lightning, that they're good, but they are. I mean, listen, they have the number one goaltender in the NHL. They have the best left side of the defense in the NHL. They have Kucherov, Stamkos, Point, Palat, Killorn, Cirelli. I think I said Point. Their third line is great. Yanni Gord. The fourth line bangers with Pat Maroon. This team is complete. They just won a Stanley Cup. They know when to turn it on. They know when to turn it off. Listen, they don't care that they're clinching home ice tonight. They just wanted to get to the dance. They don't care. So this is a team that now that they've won that cup, I said it last pod, you can count on them. You know that they know when it's time to turn it on. And they have recently. If they win tonight, they get that home ice, which is going to be really important, especially because in Florida, there's going to be a lot of fans. So it's actually a real thing. Home ice is a real thing. But yeah, Lightning in 6 to me. I love with the Panthers. This is not taking away from the Panthers. If they had Ekblad, it'd be a different story. They're deep. They've got Duclair, Barkov. Hornquist just came back. Owen Tippett, Verhaeghe, Sam Bennett was a great pickup. Brandon Montour, Forsling on the defense. It's going to be interesting to see how they do goalie. Will they go Dreger? Will they go Bobrovsky? But it's going to be a hell of a series. First time they've ever faced. A lot of people are going to be like, well, these two guys are biased. But what do you guys think about this playoff series? We'll start with Steve.
I mean, it's going to be a battle. No doubt about it. I hate them. I've grown a hatred for them because it's an in-state rival like any other rivalry. But I think this is what the NHL has wanted for a while, get two Florida teams in the same in a 7-game series. And now you have two teams that play a similar style of hockey. Lightning just coming off of a cup win. Florida's looking to get to that level. They have the right head coach. They got the right personnel. They're a complete team. They can do it. No doubt about it. I think this is going to be just a bloodbath. If anyone watched the game on Saturday night, that was, I think the last period and a half, it wasn't even hockey. It was just it was a brawl out there. Guys were fighting every 5 minutes. And, Lightning were very, very shorthanded. No Hedman, McDonough, Jan Ruda. Obviously, Kucherov and Stamkos have been out long-term. So we really haven't gotten a gauge of how these two teams are going to match up against each other come Saturday or Sunday, whenever we get that solidified start date. But I think the Panthers really don't know what they're in for. And I keep saying that, not being biased, but I'm saying, like, you get Kucherov and Stamkos out there with Braden Point, who's really been locked down all year because he hasn't had that help. He's had guys from the Syracuse Crunch come in and out. You have Palat, but he's not a pure goal scorer. So I think there's a lot of potential for this Lightning team come playoff time, but at the same time, I'm not overlooking this Panthers squad. They're fast. You said it, Jacob. They have Hornquist, Duclair, Carter Verhaeghe's having a career year. They look at the backside of that defense. Losing Ekblad hurts. The Sam Bennett addition was huge for them, and they have two goaltenders that can play in the number one spot. So
and Huberdeau too. I forgot to mention him.
Huberdeau, Barkov, exactly. So they're deep. It's going to be a tough first round for anybody. But I think the Lightning have the experience. It's going to be a fun one to watch. If you guys have listened to this, you all know that I don't like to make predictions. I think it goes 6 or 7. I hate to say that, but it's going to be a battle because these two teams play the exact same style of hockey, and it's going to be who's going to get that lucky bounce. There's going to be a couple overtime games, I believe, in this series at least.
Yeah, I mean, look, Jacob, you nailed it on the head. I'm biased. I'll straight up say it. Like, if Florida's playing any other team, I might pick Florida to win that series. But they're playing the Lightning, team I root for. The Lightning are coming off the championship. They know what to do. They know how to get it done now. I like the Lightning in this matchup. But that being said, they can't take Florida lightly. They're deep. They're physical. They're fast. The pickups at the deadline of Montour and Bennett were huge for them. the Lightning held their core together. But I mean, Steve's right. They really haven't gotten that measuring stick game of both lineups are healthy. Who's going to come out on top? I think the series is going to be, a lot of hitting, a lot of scrums after the whistles. It's going to be a bloodbath, but especially with them playing 2 games before the series starts, right? They played Saturday, they'll play Monday, and then playoffs start. So they'll get that going, but it's going to be a good series. Obviously I'm still picking the Lightning, but both teams are deep, both teams are physical, both teams are fast, and it's going to be a good series. I've always hated the Panthers, but I've always wanted a matchup where they're playing each other, and we're finally getting that for the first time this year. So I'm excited for it. I'm ready to watch and hopefully see the Lightning come out on top.
Yeah, well, what's this whole thing though with the Hedman situation? You guys sent me a picture earlier that he's going to be playing through an injury that they say he basically should just get surgery right now for, but he's planning on playing through the playoffs. He's not 100%, so you're not getting regular, normal Victor Hedman. Do you think that matters, or can McDonough, Sergachev, Savard make up for that loss, or half loss, I guess?
If you're gonna be blunt about it, this team won't go. This team will not win the cup if they don't have Victor Hedman. It's just flat out. You're not going to do it. They've tried putting Savard in that Hedman style role the last couple nights, and it's really has not worked out. I mean, I don't think you can replace a Victor Hedman. I mean, you could say the same thing about a John Carlson for the Capitals too.
Yeah,
a guy that can score, move the puck up the ice. He generates defense. The offense is generated by the defense, and a guy that can take the puck up quick to the forwards and go. Like I said, I think you don't win it without him. But the tweet that CJ sent me, not a verified source, but it's been swirling. Sportsnet kind of updated the severity of the injury. That he'll need surgery out in the offseason, but I think he'll be able to play through it. There's really no confirmed sort of deal here, but it kind of concerns you if you're a Lightning fan, because if this is an injury that's not too severe, but potential to get, more, injured, then it's kind of something you have to take lightly, but I think he'll play through it. Hopefully, if not, then just going to have to, it's the next man up, but staying optimistic and hopefully it's nothing too serious.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, you go out at the deadline and you get a guy like Savard, to kind of eat those big minutes in case one of your top guys goes down. I don't think he's looked that comfortable yet with the organization, but he's gonna be asked upon now to eat some minutes, make some big plays. He's not an offensive guy. He's not gonna have to step up with Hedman numbers, but it looks like he's gonna have to eat up some more minutes. I agree with Steve that this team goes as far as Victor Hedman will take him. If he's hurt, if he's out of the lineup, that's obviously, he's arguably the best defenseman in the NHL. Because I know if I say best, Jacob will throw out Adam Fox's name, but
that's a joke, guys. Okay,
Adam Fox,
sure,
he's good. I mean,
yeah,
but if he's out of the lineup, that's a huge blow. But I would rather have a 50% Victor Hedman than no Victor Hedman. I'd rather have a 50% Victor Hedman over a lot of other guys in the league. So if he can suit up, if he can go, we'll see what happens. But it sounds like he's going to play through it. I haven't heard anything whether he is or isn't. I thought it was weird though that we're finding out about this, a week before playoff starts. You think it would have been more, kept quiet or something like that. Stamkos is
actually giving out like exactly what the injury is.
Yeah.
Most hockey teams are upper or lower body. That's it. They don't want to tell the team what the injury is because Florida's just going to go in there and hack at his ankles now. So I wouldn't have said anything if I were Tampa, to be quite honest.
No.
And
I don't know.
That's
why.
And that's why I kind of think this is kind of speculation, because usually teams keep this thing under wraps, especially their star defenseman. So I don't know what or who said what on Sportsnet. If they just gave an update and people are going, "Oh, this needs surgery." I mean, you know how the speculation gets rolls and rolls, but I think until you hear a confirmed source, reports it like like McKenzie, NHL Network, really, I just don't think you're going to hear much from it because I don't know, out of all the injuries and all the guys that have been hurt, haven't heard anything about Taves all year. So like, why would you report this right now, 4 days before playoff series? So this could be all just a rumor. Definitely an injury is going on here, but I just don't know who to believe and what to really decipher. So I think he'll be just fine.
Yeah, well, because the Panthers and Lightning are facing, it means the other matchup in your division for the playoff.
What the fuck? Dude, I know you stopped the video, dude. Like it shows. That's fucked.
Wow.
That's funny.
Steve's anyway.
Yeah, if Alex watches this, use your laptop for this.
Jesus. But yeah, we got the Hurricanes and Predators in the other matchup. I'm glad Nashville made it, to be honest with you. I mean, Dallas 22, 19, and 14. Get the fuck out. Like, get out. I don't want 14 OT losses. Get out of here. Nashville only with 2, so they're 30, 23, and 2. And then the Hurricanes 36, 11, and 8. Listen, good effort, Nashville, but might be a 5-gamer, 4-gamer.
I don't know. It's this is where it gets interesting, though, guys, because you played 8 games in the regular season.
Yep.
Nashville's gotten the shit kicked out of them by Carolina, like 1-6-1. Now, do you take that and go, hey, well, they got 6 wins under their belt. Now let's win when it matters. But if I'm looking at Carolina, they're deep. They can play defense. That frustrating style of hockey, similar to the Columbus Blue Jackets. But I think I agree with Jacob here. I think if they push it deep, I think it goes 6. If they can steal a couple, maybe split on the road to start and then split at home and somehow grind it and go back and forth. But I just don't see how they're going to beat Carolina in 7 games. I think Carolina's too structured. They're shuffling 3 goalies somehow, some way. And I just think their defense is deep enough to hold Nashville off. And Nashville, on the other hand, doesn't have too many weapons where you're looking like, wow, how are they going to score enough to beat Carolina in a 7-game set? So I think it'd be a lot. It'd be a big upset to say the least. But we've seen it happen before a couple of years ago.
We don't have to talk about that.
Don't have to rehash that. But yeah, so. But yeah, I'm with Jacob here. I think Nashville gets handled pretty easily.
Yeah, the only reason that I think this isn't 5 games is that, remember earlier in the year that we thought Nashville was dead in the water. We were talking about trading Duchesne, trading Forsberg, getting, selling everything at the deadline. And now, all of a sudden here they are clinching in the playoffs. So I think the only thing saving Nashville is that they've been in playoff mode for a while now. And I think they're kind of already at that level. And I don't know if Carolina can flip that switch yet. UC Suarez has been playing out of his mind. That's one of the big reasons that Nashville's in a spot right now. Nashville's going to go as far as Suarez can take them. But yeah, I don't see Nashville upsetting this one. I think Carolina's too deep. They're too structured. Brendan Moore off of that new contract. He's going to be structured. He's going to keep that team in check. I got Carolina here, but I'm interested to see how they respond. I think they play once more in the regular season. I want to see how Carolina responds to that. They're kind of a young team in terms of playoff experience. So I want to see if they can flip that switch into playoff gear. The switch that Nashville's already had most, for the second half of the season. Can Carolina match that intensity and flip that switch and go, all right, we're chasing after a ring here, after a championship. I want to see, do they have that experience to be able to go into game time mode?
Yeah, I mean, I think Carolina too, though. They made it 2 or 3 straight years. They lost to the Bruins, so they've played them. That's way tougher to me than facing Nashville. So I think at the very least, now that you've been through a few playoff series, Nashville's a team that you should just flat out beat. And honestly, if they don't win this series, is there a head coaching change? Because it's like how I mean, I don't know, because you get first place, you've got Aho, you've got all these guys, Svechnikov, Teravainen, great defense, 3 goalies playing well, and you lose to the 4 seed. Again, Nashville's good, but they're, if you count the OT losses as losses, they're 30 and 25. So I don't know if they're exactly a juggernaut compared to Carolina. We'll see, though. And again, I've been down on Nashville all year. It's because they don't score. I think their leading goal scorer has 13 goals, and it would have been Forsberg, but he was injured for 2 or 3 weeks. He has 12. So, okay, maybe if he wasn't injured, he'd have 16 goals. That's nothing. I mean, Arizona can't score. They have a higher goal scorer than that. So, and then I think their leading point getter, they don't even have a 40-point guy this year. So that's a problem. And so if you can't score at all, Saros is great, but you got to score something. And I'm not confident that the team can.
Yeah, and the thing too, I think for Nashville, you got to stay out of the box. That's going to be the key to the series. That's one of my takeaways is because Carolina, they get in the power play. They're one of the top power play units in the league. They capitalize on their chances. So if you're Nashville, you got to stay disciplined, stay out of the box, stay even strength. Try to keep it as even as possible because that's going to be your advantage. Because like you said, they have a tough time scoring, and I'm looking up their goals per game. Because right now, yeah, Carolina is the number 2 power play unit in the league right now. 26.3%.
Wow.
On the kill, they're 85.5%. So it's going to be a tough hill to climb because they're very disciplined. They don't take many penalties. They kill them off well, and they capitalize when you give them the advantage. So if you're Nashville, you really got to find a way to steal a couple games on the road if you want to take this series and go to the next round. But I just think it's a whole lot to handle. We talked about it in the preseason that Nashville is going to have a tough time scoring all year. They're a -3 goal differential. For a playoff team, that's not a playoff team. You want to be right around plus 15, plus 20 at least. So we'll see. Maybe they prove us all wrong, but I don't know. It's going to be a battle because these teams have played 8 times. I think every series in this division until you get to the conference final, it's going to be really close because these teams know each other well, and it's your potential for 16 games played, 17 games played in one season, which is unheard of.
Yeah, it's like the AL East matchups.
Exactly. It's like baseball type of deal here.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing in like predicting, what we're going to see out of these matchups is these teams have played so many times this year. We don't know what to expect. Like, obviously special teams are going to play huge because these teams are already going to hate each other. So I think you're going to see a little more behind the play, penalties, stuff like that, a little more trips, slashing, roughing, whatever it is. So I think that's the one thing we have to look out for this year is how are special teams going to influence the playoffs, and does the regular season mean anything? In prior years, you play a team 2 or 3 times, you can probably, the team who probably won the season series is probably going to move on, right? I think that's a safe bet. This year, I don't know if that means anything.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, this season is different from every other. You're not, the only sample size is the same 8 teams playing each other, and that's it. So, it's going to be interesting. We'll see. Let's move on to the West, and we've got the playoff matchups pretty much planned out over there. Vegas is going to host St. Louis, and then we don't have home ice determined yet, but the Avs and the Wild are going to face. So right now, Colorado is home ice. They played a game less and have a point more than Minnesota, so all likelihood points to Colorado having that home ice. I think both favored teams are going to win their series. Vegas and Colorado, I think, are destined for the next series, but St. Louis started playing well when they had to, which is something that, again, the Bruins did this. The Predators just did this. The Lightning just did this. All these teams, notice the pattern. They know when to turn it on, and that's what the Blues did towards the end. Because last pod, me and Adam were looking at the schedule, and Arizona had a way easier schedule than St. Louis, and they have completely fumbled the bag. I mean, they have 3 more games than St. Louis and 3 less points. So that's, and they faced the Kings like 2 or 3 times. And Adam, you pointed that out. I remember looking at the scores every day. I'm like, hey, Adam was saying the Kings could go in there and beat Arizona a few times. Quentin Byfield called up and all that, and that's exactly what happened. But Vegas is just better than St. Louis. St. Louis is just not there. They're deeper. They have better goal scorers. I think they're overrated at center and at winger. I mean, they're not great, but they're good enough. And defensively, Pietrangelo, Shea Theodore, all those guys, and then goaltender's good as well. So Vegas, I think, is going to win their series. And then Colorado, I've said it over and over and over again. They are the Lightning of last year. They cannot lose a playoff series or they're going to blow up the whole party over there, because how many times are you going to try it with the same group and they lose and lose and lose? So I think Colorado's destined. And Minnesota, again, listen, they do it every goddamn year. They get in the playoffs, they get a really bad matchup, and they're out in round 1. That always happens to them. And why? Because they don't have that number 1 peak. Now, Kaprizov is fantastic, but you need more than just Kaprizov to get past these teams that have the McKinnons and the Rantanens and the McCarrs and all that. So Colorado, Vegas are going to move on to me in this division.
Yeah, I got this one, Steve, because I want to hear you bitch about Vegas. St. Louis, yeah, they haven't done enough. They're 26 points behind Vegas right now. That's too big a mountain to climb. We're not seeing another Tampa Bay Columbus rematch. This team is, I think St. Louis, good for them for getting into the playoffs, getting into the dance. You never know what happens, but I think Vegas wins that one. Colorado, Minnesota, I think Jacob's right. I think Colorado is destined to play Vegas in the second round, but don't count on Minnesota yet. I think if there's one matchup I'm looking at to go 7 in the first round, that's the matchup I'm looking at. I think those two teams are balanced. I think Colorado is deep, but they still haven't proven themselves yet. In Minnesota, they got a young team over there, a few vets that could help them out, but I think Minnesota could upset Colorado. But I think Jacob's right. It's destined for Vegas, Colorado. They play tonight. If Vegas wins, not only do they win the division, but they win the President's Trophy. Yes, and sir. That's how I segue into Steve bitching about Vegas. Steve's
that's all we need. I'm rooting for the Knights because they get the President's Trophy and they lose first round to the St. Louis Blues. Here it goes. Vegas is 6-1-1 against the St. Louis Blues this year. Now, I said 6 wins on your belt. Now you got to beat them 4 more times. You make 10-1, 10-2-1, something crazy. Here's the thing. The Blues, they had the experience. They still have a lot of guys retained from that cup run, besides Pietrangelo, who's playing on the other side now. I think, when you look at it statistically, I don't want Vegas to win. I'm not throwing St. Louis out because I like their experience.
Wait, what was that line? You said statistically, I don't want the Knights to win. What does that mean?
No, statistically speaking, I think the Knights win.
Oh, okay.
The series, but I'm not counting the Blues out because their experience. They have the goaltending if Binnington wants to turn it on. If that's a big if he can play like he did in that one run when they won the cup, I think they have a great chance. But if he's not there and he's giving up 4 or 5 goals a game, I think the Knights run away with this in 5. But at the same time, Vegas wins this President's Trophy. Everyone's high on them. I think this Blues team can do it. They've turned it on when they had to. They played Minnesota, I think, 4 times in the last 2 weeks. They've gone 3-0-1 against them. Let me verify that real quick. But they played a tough schedule down the stretch. They've had to play the Knights.
Sorry,
they've lost the Knights 2 nights in a row. What's up?
Oh no, I was just looking at the Blues to support what you were saying. Like while you were talking, they basically don't have anyone under 6 foot on their roster except for Schwartz. Offensively, they're all over 6 foot. A bunch of 6'3", 6'4s, and then defense. Parayko 6'6", McCullough 6'4", Gunnarsson 6'2", Falk 6 foot, Bertuzzo 6'4". They're a big team, and
they could bully Vegas. They could bully.
That's what I'm saying. Like you look at what happened with Vegas the last couple of runs. Last year, obviously running into the Stars, who I think really manhandled them that whole series. They kind of pushed them around. Vegas wasn't flying. They didn't give them ice to skate around and do what they do best. And I think if St. Louis can contain that, play these 1-goal games and make it tough on Vegas and frustrate them, it gives them a real advantage. And I think St. Louis has that edge to them where they had the size, the physicality to really kind of get in their face and go, hey, we're not going to make this easy on you. Is that going to make it, is that going to be indicative of what the series is going to be like? No, but this last month and a half, they played Vegas, Minnesota, Colorado, Minnesota, Vegas, and now Minnesota the last 2 games of the season. They've beaten Minnesota 4 of the last 5 with one of their losses in overtime. They've split with Colorado the last 4 games, 2-2, and losing to Vegas 4-1 and 4-3 in overtime. So they've played really close games. I think they're battle tested. They're ready to go. But time will tell. Like I said, these matchups aren't going to be as lopsided as I think you guys think and where everyone thinks, just because we had that feel out process of the year. And now when it matters, maybe these teams that have been kind of laying low and are lower in the standings, turn it on. And now they're given a chance to go 7 and take advantage of it. And I'm not going to discredit a team that won the Cup 2 years ago. Vegas hasn't quite found that notch yet to get over the edge. And I think the odds will be even more against them if they win this President's Trophy. We all know how cursed that thing's been for the last 12 years. The last team to win it as a President's Trophy was the Blackhawks, the last shortened season. So who knows? Maybe a shortened year President's Trophy doesn't matter, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. So Let's look at this North Division. This one, I think we can kind of speed through because the Leafs are playing Montreal. I think they'll win that series pretty easily. I mean, Montreal, they're 24, 21, and 9. They have 9 OT losses. That's a lot. And Toronto, I mean, they're 20 points better. So I don't care how many times they're better scoring wise. Defensively, Montreal, they got a lot of guys at the trade deadline. Maybe they'll lock them down, steal a game or two. But Carey Price is not Carey Price anymore. Like if Carey Price had a respectable year, I'd be like, you know what? They could do what they did last year. Carey Price was not Carey Price for any stretch this year, and he's been injured for a little bit. So that's a breeze through. And then honestly, I think Edmonton goes through Winnipeg. I think they do. And we can address this now. Conor McDavid with 100 points in 53 games. I was watching those highlights that night. Every time it came up on my feed, because it was like 98 points. He needs 2 more to 100. And in my head, I'm like, he's gonna do it tonight. And then I go on 5 minutes later, another point. 5 minutes later, he had 100, and he makes it look so easy. It's like he's playing kids. I mean, it really looks like that. He is absolutely incredible. Oilers are going to win this series. So I think Leafs and Oilers are destined for each other round 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think Toronto just overpowers Montreal, but man, I'm excited for that matchup. You know, a little East Canadian rivalry. You know, I don't think they've played each other in a while in the playoffs. That's going to be, you know, 2 of the most historic franchises in the league. That's going to be a fun, original 6 matchup. It's going to be a fun series. But I think Toronto is just too top heavy for Montreal to do anything about it, even if Carey Price does show up and like he played a few years ago. And, you know, I don't think Montreal can do anything about it. Edmonton, Winnipeg, I'm picking the team with Conor McDavid, the guy with 100 points in 53 games. I'm picking that guy, no questions asked. But about the 100 points, you know, I was reading it, you know, a few weeks ago, and when he was at like 85 points or something, they were saying he needed like over 2 points a game by the end of the season to get there. And I'm thinking, yeah, I was thinking to myself too. I was like, you know, even for a guy that good, 2 points average, over 2 points average the rest of the year, that's hard to do in the National Hockey League. And you know, here he is. I think he averaged 3 points since then per game. I mean, he's got 3 games left, and he's already sitting at 100 points. And didn't he miss time this year too? Like, what? Didn't he miss a few games?
I don't know, but I mean, he did it.
I think he missed like 3 games or something like that.
Yeah.
So he's at 2 points per game. Like that's absurd. So we're in the middle of history right now. I could talk for days about it. It's so cool to be witnessing history right now.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with both y'all in the series, outlooks. I think Toronto has been a lot to handle, I think, offensively. If they can get the goaltending from Anderson come playoff time, then I think they go as far as their goaltending. I think the story is the same for every Canadian team. They'll go just as far as where their goaltender is going to take them. Same thing with Edmonton. Yeah, it's great. McDavid, Draisaitl, they all could score as many goals as they want, but Mike Smith's had a good run as of late, 2-2 goals against, better than the past few years. But we saw him last year in the playoffs going to Chicago, and all of a sudden the sky's falling down. The pucks are going in left and right. McDavid and all of them are going off. They're scoring 5 goals in a playoff game. You think, geez, that's plenty enough, you'd think. And they're losing, and they lose the series in 5 to the Hawks. But I think if they can get goaltending, Edmonton, that is, I think they'll be a hard team to beat in this North Division. And same thing with Toronto. They're tough up front. They've gotten a little bit bigger on the backside on defense. You have Morgan Riley back there. You have Zach Bogosian, who's playing, I think, third pair, I think it is. But I think those 2 teams will make it to the second round, and that'll be an exciting series to watch. You got Matthews and McDavid going up against each other in a 7-game set. I think the NHL is really gonna feed off all these series. I mean, we could talk about matchups for days and a ton of must-watch TV, must-watch hockey, and get 2 high-powered offenses together. I think that'll be an electric series. Probably go 7 games, but Winnipeg, to me, for Edmonton facing them, they haven't shown me much all year. 59 points, 28 and 22, about 500. So Hellebuck he's been, their horse all year. I think that's why the main reason they're in the playoffs. They don't really score too many goals. Has Pierre-Luc Dubois, how has he done over there? I haven't really kept track of Winnipeg.
That's what I meant when he was calling for the trades, and he's never had a good season, like a really good season. Who the fuck are you? I mean, like, why are you demanding a trade when you haven't done shit? Like, I'm sorry.
And I think that hurt Winnipeg. You look at going to make another run, an appearance in the playoffs. I think they could have used the Patrick Laine, in their lineup going into this series. I mean, now you look at it, they probably, they long term they probably won the trade, but in the short run, you could have used a Laine in this lineup going up against a McDavid and a Draisaitl. So I think they're pretty much not irrelevant, but I just don't see them beating Edmonton in a 7 set. So that's pretty much it for the North for me.
Yeah. I want to say this real quick. I remembered the stat that I looked up. Did you guys know Toronto hasn't won a division? They obviously clinched the division this year. They haven't won the division since 99-2000. That was the last time they won a division.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Like, does that seem nuts to anyone else?
I mean,
it's a long time.
Yes, and still though, wow.
Yeah.
21 years. That's crazy.
Yeah. So I thought that was something interesting, something neat, but I think they make it out of the first round finally. And I think if they play the Oilers, I think that's a great matchup for them because that's who's going to win 6-5. That's a matchup the Leafs can win. Who's going to win 6-5? But when they have to play a shutdown team and have to win a 2-1 game, I don't think they can do that.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see, guys. So we're going to move on to the East Division now. So if you look at the East, we have the Penguins. They clinched the 1 seed, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
Okay, they clinched the 1 seed. So they're going to face either Boston or New York or the Islanders, and then it's going to be Caps or Bruins. Excuse me. So I think Pittsburgh, if they face the Islanders, they'll probably win that series. The Islanders haven't been playing well at all second half of the year. Anders Lee went down. Palmieri and Zajac haven't brought enough firepower to that roster. So they just really saw. I mean, they were in third place at one point, battling to get second, and they've fallen all the way to last with 1 game left in their season as we're recording this Monday before the 7:00 games on Monday. But I think, Pittsburgh would beat the Islanders, but I think Boston would be really tough. Again, they turn the light on, right? They're back to playing Boston Bruins hockey. So I think Pittsburgh, a team that might struggle to score in the playoffs. Now, somehow they're a plus 40. I mean, they're having the weirdest year. They have the best goal differential in the division, and their goaltending is suspect. They don't have a lot of high caliber scorers, but they're a plus 40. So they play really well defensively. Sidney Crosby is still Sidney Crosby. Malkin's back. So they're no team to laugh at. But I think, honestly, even though they don't have as many points, I think Boston is the team to look out for here. I think Washington, they always choke in the playoffs.
That's what I was thinking.
Boston's just been sneaking by all year. They slipped in. I think Boston, they're going to be scary, but it's hard to predict playoff series here when we don't even know what they are. But this division, really, they're so close together, these 4 teams. The Rangers are better than all of them, but the first 4 are really close. And it's going to be really tough to see who's going to win these playoff series. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I really like Pittsburgh. I'm not for some reason we all got it wrong. We all shit on them beginning of the year. They're not going to do anything. I was the first one to say they might not make it, but now they're division winners. You're also talking to the same guy that said the Rangers are going to finish second. Now, if this is 82 games, we might be right. And Jacob's over there hiding. Again, did you have him winning it? What did you have him winning it, or did you have him in a spot?
I was gonna not even put them in, and then you said second, and I'm like, well, I'm a Ranger fan. I can't have them out when a non-Ranger fan has them in. You screwed me, Steve. It was your fault.
I talked you in it, but they were the best team in the second half, and they just ran out of gas. But but I think I like Pittsburgh. I think I'm set on them. I think it's going to be them in Washington to go to the conference final, to play, to go there. I just don't really trust the Bruins and the Islanders right now. I think the Islanders are not playing the best hockey. Now, that doesn't mean a whole lot. This team knows how to kick it in gear come playoff time. They have the right coach. Barry Trotz knows how to get these guys going, and they play a stubborn style of hockey as well. So that team just needs a series, and they just need to find themselves the right time, and that could be coming up this weekend. So, but Pittsburgh's got scoring from, even though they don't have flashy scorers, Crosby's got 24, Getzel's got 23, Brian Rust with 22 goals.
Yeah.
Then you have Jeff Carter, Jared McCann, Kasperi Kapanen, Zucker, Malkin, Aston Reese. So you got guys scoring from all over the place. That's why I think this team's sneaky, because you don't rely on one guy. It's kind of a system. The system's working over there. The only thing that concerns me is their goaltending. Jari and DeSmith. Do they have enough playoff experience, if any, to go up against like a Washington or a Bruins team that can really fire it from all angles? So, congrats on Pittsburgh winning the division. I still like them. Crosby's just doesn't age. He just seems to, he gets better. He's like Brady, he just keeps getting better as the years go on. But I think them and Washington are top heavy. I don't know if one of those two teams on the bottom side can kick it in gear. Then yeah, I really do think Boston can do it as well. You have Pastrnak, Bergeron, all the guys. McAvoy,
Taylor Hall.
What's his name? Taylor Hall. Keep forgetting about him. He's been a nice addition. But yeah, this Boston, the Islanders are 1 point apart. So they play each other, I think, tomorrow. So that could determine the spot or the matchup they get. So this division's it's brutal. There's no way to put it. All four teams are worthy and can easily make it to the conference final. So I'm not counting anyone out. I think right now for me, Washington's the favorite. I really think they can do it. I do. I really do. They're dangerous. They're dangerous. They got Tom Wilson, and
he'll be suspended after game 3.
Hey, let's just talk about that now, because we didn't get to yet on this. Listen, the Tom Wilson hit. Here's the thing. Basically, Tom Wilson got the Rangers front office fired. Essentially, that's what my theory is. I think Dolan is so stupid and doesn't know a thing about hockey that he was like, the Rangers didn't make the fucking playoffs again. We're getting pushed around by everybody. Fire the front office. This guy doesn't know a lick about hockey. He hasn't made a front office decision. I was talking to my dad about it because obviously he's been watching his whole life. It's like Dolan hasn't done a fucking thing for this team in 25 years, or maybe ever. And I mean, you almost forget, I'm a Ranger and Nick fan. You almost block it out of your mind that Dolan owns both teams because he doesn't know anything about hockey. So I guarantee you he's so stupid that he was sitting there like, oh, we didn't make the playoffs again. Something's going wrong, even though our general manager, Adam Fox, Keandre Miller, I mean, listen, the draft lottery, you can't control that. That was just pure luck getting top two picks 2 years in a row. So I'm not even going to give him credit for that because he picked the guys that were slotted in those spots. But the Ryan Strome trade, locking up Kreider, getting rid of Brady Shea, which was the best decision that they made in a while. They brought in Trouba. They were able to recruit Panarin. Why? Because of John Davidson, who he just fired. JD was the guy who recruited Panarin over. So is Panarin now going to be like, well, my boy isn't here, trade me away? I mean, you don't know. The Rangers are dysfunctional. They have not won a cup since 1994. Before that, it was 1940. They don't win consistently ever, and it's because they're not managed well. They don't get the head coaches that are good enough. It's just true, and it's sad. Adam putting on a cup hat. Are you kidding? I swear to God. The Lightning and Tom Wilson single-handedly broke the franchise. They were one game away from going to the Cup final again, and then Tom Wilson's over here just running guys and getting the front office exposed. Yeah, I know. It's I really, because there's really no other justification for firing them other than we didn't make the playoffs. It reads the headline on the New York Post. We didn't make the playoffs. We're the New York Rangers. What the fuck? That's really because he doesn't know anything about hockey. What else could the response have been? He even said, which this really pissed me off. He was like, our new GM, Chris Drury, he's the GM for Team USA now and everything like that, not taking anything away from the guy. I mean, he might be really good. But he was like, Chris Drury reminds me of Brian Cashman. And I'm like, is that a good thing? Like, what? Why is it a good? The Yankees have won one championship under Brian Cashman. That's not a good thing. He bought the team too in 2009. What are we talking about? So this is what the Rangers are going to do. They're going to go after Jack Eichel balls deep. They're going to give up probably every prospect that they have. They're probably going to give up Strome because what else is the answer? They have built this team perfectly. Well, not perfect. They don't have size and they don't have grit. They're not playoff ready. They need physicality. So somebody has to go. But other than that, young talent wise, they're set up. I mean, they drafted incredibly well. So they've set themselves up to go get an Eichel. And if that's Dolan's problem, that they haven't gone hard enough, they haven't gotten another star, even though they have 2 superstars already, that they haven't gotten another star. If that's the next move, because what else is it? Are you going to get rid of a top 6 guy to bring in a 4th line banger or a 3rd line banger? What is it? Because Jeff Gorton and John Davidson built this team perfectly in terms of young talent. There's nothing else better that they could have done, and they got fired for whatever reason. And the funny thing is, the statement that was released where the Rangers were attacking George Parros is an absolute goon and an idiot. They didn't even put out that statement. That was Dolan. So all the rumors that said that they were fired because of the statement, it's not even true. So what the fuck was the reason? Why did they get fired? They did nothing wrong. And I think David Quinn is a walking dead man. He's out the door. I mean, you can't fire upper management and then keep Quinn, who literally in press conferences is like, man, I don't know why I didn't put the second line out. Are you kidding me? You're the head coach. You're saying, I don't know why I didn't do, especially to New York media. You can't say that. This guy's gone. If they don't get Eichel or a superstar, what was the point of firing the front office? I don't get it. And now I'm hearing rumors that with Tortorella fired in Columbus, Gorton, what's his face? Dolan is interested in Tortorella again. Really? Are we going to turn Capo Caco into a 3rd line checker? Is that the answer? Is that what we're going to do with Torts coming in? Not good. Rangers were going up, and now they're right back to being dysfunctional. So not a fun time for me. I don't know what you guys think of it. And by the way, the hit was totally illegal. Tom Wilson would have been arrested in real life if he had made that hit. He doesn't even get fucking suspended. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, we go full circle to where we started. To with Tom Wilson just exposing the Rangers in that one game. That's the focal point here. It's we talked about it. I've been telling you this, and I know you know it's prevalent. It's the grit, the lack of size and physicality, and he's sort of aggression on the Rangers side. No, that's not saying like that wins you games, but it protects your guys and it keeps look with the teams that have won the cup. They have guys that can go and just go and fight Capitals. Wilson, you have guys that want to go and get in people's face. The Blues had Maroon and I don't even know who they had in that cup lineup. I can't think off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Lightning, Maroon again, Goodrow, guys like that. The Rangers don't have those guys that can go and grind on the 4th line and go and fight somebody when need be. And I think you saw that in the last game when Wilson was going and running after people. Now, after looking at it and talking to other people in depth, it was bad. I think the hit was bad for hockey. The incident was bad for hockey. He set the precedent for 5K fines. I can tell you that. Now, anyone that's a hearing, it's a straight 5K fine. Now, I think what he did with the stick on who was it, Buchnevich's neck?
Yeah, I mean, choking him.
That was over the line. And then obviously he slams Panarin down. Okay, yeah, you can pull the guy off him. You can slam him down to the ground. Okay, but then he punches him with helmet off on the ice. I think it was a good move. When I really look at it, it was just the bonehead play. I mean, I liked Wilson in the reams of the game where he's going and hitting people clean. That's fine. That's cool with me. Right. That's part of the game. But when you're doing that kind of stuff, it's just a bad look. And now it's opening the door for those idiots that do that kind of stuff. Boston Bruins probably looking at that, Marchand, and going, hey, I can get away with it too. So I think the league missed it there. I think he should have been suspended at least 4 games. People can agree and disagree. Yes, Adam's looking like I'm crazy. But
listen, Adam, John Scott said he should have been suspended. I mean, please.
Now, I think if that's one of the Lightning guys and he did that, I'd be like, all right, that's a little like, it's kind of messed up here. I'd be a little bit biased, but I just think the hit was disgusting. But yeah, that just goes back to the Rangers. It goes hand in hand because in that moment, I would have sent someone the next shift And I don't know if it did happen or didn't happen, and just gone right after Wilson or someone and sent a message. And I know they did it in the next game, but they don't have enough guys that can go out there and make a statement like that. And that's the only thing the Rangers need. They can go out and maybe get Eichel for a bargain. I would not blow this team up for anything for that guy. I would go find a middle of the pack scorer that can go and get you 15 to 20 goals, because that'll help your top guys and take the load off them.
Right. And sorry to interrupt, but you see now, I mean, my dad on Strictly Ranger, this is what he says. It's why you can't keep Strome. He's not like he can score all he wants, top 25 scorer this year, but he's not big enough. He's not strong enough. He's going to get pushed around, and he's paired with Panarin. So there's no one to protect those guys.
Yeah, and you need a guy. I mean, I keep using the Lightning as an example because it's something we watch it all every night. And a guy like Eric Chernak, he can move the puck, he can score, but he'll drop the gloves when need be. If someone's getting, if one of the star guys gets hit, he's going right after them. He's going straight to the devil and looking in the eyes and, hey, let's go. So I think the Rangers need that kind of guy. And if Strome can take that to the next level, or, he's not strong enough, big enough, like you said, can score, can move the puck, but they need a guy that really can just gut it up and go right at guys and just go, hey, this is what's going to happen. We're going. I think the Rangers need that. They lack that. And that's the only thing missing for them to ultimately make the playoffs and be effective when they get in. So unfortunately, they didn't get in this year. Like I said, if they had 82 games, I think they're in. But it's a good stepping stone for next year for them for sure.
Yeah. I mean, Jacob, how much are you missing Brendan Lemieux right now? I mean, talk about a guy who's a physical presence and can step up for.
He's not really physical though. He's really not. I mean, like
still an enforcer. Still more of an enforcer.
Yeah, but he's like 5'10", dude. Like he's not. You need like a big guy. Not 5'10", gonna slap you with the stick type of guy. And Lemieux was terrible defensive. If you're gonna have a banger, you need a defensively responsible guy. And I don't follow the advanced stats very well. I don't really understand them yet. I'm going to start looking into them. But Lemieux on all these charts defensively, he was at the bottom league average-wise on all of them. Defense. So you can't just go around whacking your stick. Nobody's afraid of 5'10" Lemieux running around,
Fair enough. Look, about the hit, I don't have a problem with the $5,000 fine. I think I might be by myself here, but I really, I didn't have a problem with it. I think maybe a game, but I mean, people are talking about 4-game, 5-game season suspension. Like, I think that's over the line.
Yeah,
look,
Adam, if I went up to you in the street and I just body slammed you into the concrete and then put a stick around your neck and shoved your face into the concrete, would I go to jail?
I mean, yeah, but we're talking about hockey. We're not talking about a fucking street fight. We're not talking about a street fight,
right,
Jacob. We're talking about a scrap at the end of the whistle. Look, cross-checking a guy on his neck when he's down. Yeah, that's not okay. $5,000. I think he could have gotten a game for that, but I'm okay with the $5,000. It's the max allowable. Yes, it's pocket change to him, but the league can't say, oh, well, you would make more money, so you get suspended or you get fined $1 million. They can't do that. It's part of the CBA. There's nothing we can do about it. The throw on Panarin, I think we're all getting butthurt about it because he doesn't have a helmet. I think if he's got a helmet and he gets thrown down to the ice,
well, that's the issue, though. If you don't have a helmet on, you can't do it, bro. Like
that's what I'm saying, though. Like it's just a scrap at the end of the day, and he unfortunately didn't have his helmet on. Thankfully, he wasn't like severely hurt. I know they haven't disclosed what the injury is. I know it had to do with the Wilson.
He's probably fine. Yeah.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, look, it's a scrap after the whistle. Guy doesn't have his helmet on. It's unfortunate. Gets taken down. I don't have a problem with it. I do have a problem with a few cheap shots on the bottom of the pile. That's part of the code. But Wilson's never been a guy to abide by that. But look, if he comes after Stamkos or Kucherov, oh my God, I want this dude out of the league. So I get why
this guy dead.
Yeah, I'm hiring a hitman for this guy. But and I can understand why you're upset, Jacob. But for me, not an outsider, but someone who doesn't have a horse in that game, looking at it, I don't have a problem with the $5,000 fine. Now, I think
he can do that to Marchand all he wants.
True. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I think Steve, you mentioned that it was bad look for the sport.
I think it was just because it allows goons like Marchand to go out and slew foot people and get away.
Like if I can do that to Panarin, I can do it to anyone.
That's the bad look for it.
But in that same sense, like yes, it opens up.
Yeah, exactly.
It opens up Pandora's box for sure. Oh my God.
Yeah, a
Okay.
little audio problem there.
Alrighty, Steve.
Steve, you lagged like hard there. What were you saying?
Right.
Gee. Talking to me?
Yeah.
We didn't hear a word you said.
You didn't hear a word I said.
No.
Oh, what was I saying?
Oh God. All right, I'm just moving
yeah,
on.
no, I was saying like, your superstar gets slowed down. That opens the door for anyone, to get, to get screwed with. And like, that to me is what hockey is not about. It's not part of the game. It's never been a part of the game. Fighting, everything, scraps happen, but that crossed the line of what you can and can't do. Like you said, it's the code, quote unquote, guys on the ground. You don't punch a guy on the ground. If you're in a straight up fight, the guy falls to the ground, you still don't hit him on the ground.
It's interesting you say that because Steve Valiquette, former NHL goalie on the Rangers MSG channel, he was like, if you're punching a guy with his head on the ice, you put your hand under his head so that you're not punching him into the. Did Tom Wilson do that? I mean, he was pushing his head into ice hard, like rock hard ice. But what did Valiquette say? He said, I just texted my buddy Colton Orr. I said, buddy, we need you for next game when Washington comes in. And Colton Orr responded. He was like, I'm telling you, if I were on the ice, in the on the bench or in the press box, Tom Wilson wouldn't have done jack shit that night. And it's true. And it circles back to what Steve said, that if there was one dude, Tom Wilson ain't doing that shit. And that's another thing Steve Valiquette said. He said, the code in the NHL, you say, hey, you want to go? Oh, you want to go? And it's, you do it one and what. Panarin didn't say, hey, you want to go? He tugged on Wilson, and then Wilson goes, boom, no helmet into the ice. So it is what it is. We'll see. But last thing I want to say about it, the rule about, you can't be suspended because it's his first stick violate. That's like saying I killed 4 people with a gun, but then I killed 1 person with a knife and I can't get arrested because it wasn't 5 gun kills.
Jacob, you gotta stop acting like this was fucking homicide here.
I'm just comparing it. It's an analogy.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
It's not. You can't compare killing a man to someone getting tackled in a hockey
that's like saying I robbed a bank.
You're still using that example.
It's an analogy, Adam. What else?
So irrelevant. It's so irrelevant, dude. Like, there's not a comparable to it. It's based on what the NHL says. The NHL says he's a first-time offender in this case. The NHL says you can only be fined this much under the CBA. They followed all the rules, all the procedures. I don't have a problem with it. And finishing what I was going to say, bad for the game. Yes, it's a bad look. It opens up Pandora's box. But on the other hand, I haven't seen hockey covered that much about the 6 fights in 5 minutes. I haven't seen hockey be covered that much on all the platforms, the ESPN, whatever the other shits are. I don't know. But I thought it was good exposure. Who doesn't love a good fight? Maybe it's excessive. Maybe it doesn't happen if Wilson gets suspended. But I thought, as far as exposure goes, I thought that part was good for it.
I'm sorry. I was just watching what Steve sent over.
Cracking a bottle over his head. Yeah, it's next time freaking Panarin sees Wilson. Bang.
Hilarious.
Off the dome.
Oh my god.
But yeah, no, I completely agree. It's just it's a situation that just kind of escalated pretty quickly, and I think was just not handled 100% the right way. But something you learn from, and you move on. So,
and talk about putting your foot in the door. Mark Messier, NHL Hall of Famer, Cup winner with the Rangers. He did an interview with the Post. Basically said, I want to be the head coach, which nobody ever says that when the guy hasn't been fired yet. And then Messier said, in my opinion, if you're going to win, you got to be able to win in the street and the alley. I particularly would not have built the team that didn't have answers in this regard. Dude, Mark Messier, my dad, because my dad obviously watched all those teams. He said that motherfucker was the scariest dude on the ice every night. Like that, if it's coming out of the mouth of Messier and he's saying that, it probably means something. So, hey, if they've hired Mark Messier, I'd be over the moon. I mean, I don't know if they do. I'd be over the moon if he came in, because who wouldn't listen to Mark Messier? I mean, this dude is top of the line, one of the best players to ever play. And if you need physicality, I mean, my dad's always says Messier started the move where a guy comes into you, he tries to hit you, and you shoulder him right before he can hit you. Messier perfected that. That was his thing. So hopefully maybe they hire him, maybe they don't. We'll see. But NHL playoffs are coming up soon. It's going to be fun. They got this weird thing final week where they got like a game a day up until Thursday for the COVID makeup games, even though some of these teams aren't even going to go to the playoffs. They're literally meaningless games, and they're extending the regular season for it. But playoffs should be next week. We'll do another pod then. Maybe even CJ will come on, and we'll have a little scuffle. But we'll see. We'll see. Because I know if they lose, he ain't coming on. So we got to get him before, or else it's never happening. So, but
if we beat the Panthers, I'm buying a banner, putting it on a Cessna plane, and it's gonna fly it over South Beach.
We should make a bet with him about like loser of the series has to do this, but we'll discuss that next time he's on.
Hey, he asked me to bet him. I said I'll bet you all day Lightning are winning the series. There's no question.
Oh, I'm in for that.
Steal his money.
Hey, I did win that fantasy hockey league, by the way. I'm gonna have 120 sent to my bank account pretty soon.
Yeah, I got freaking mopped in that.
Yeah. And then I won the NFL draft challenge with CJ by like a few points. Won another 120.
Decent.
I don't know. I beat CJ a lot. I'll just say that. Yeah. But yeah, all right. Steve and I are about to record Strictly Baseball. Mark and I did Strictly Yankees this morning. It's already out. I'm doing Strictly Rangers tonight. So I'm 4 podcasts today. I'm going hard, going strong. We'll see if I can do it. And then Strictly Sports. I don't know when we're doing that. We haven't done a draft or review yet. But I want to do one for sure because so much happened in the draft. Loved what happened. Bucks didn't even have to do anything because they're just too good. But we'll talk about that on the next Strictly Sports. Yep, Steve pointing to the banner. Okay, so you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Twitter at Strictly Sports P. Facebook. Oh, God.
That's nice.
Facebook and Instagram at Strictly Sports Productions. We're on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, a bunch of others. Look us up on YouTube. Strictly Sports Productions. Go into the playlist channel. All 5 podcasts are in there. Easy to see. And yeah, that'll do it. All right. So for Steve and Adam, I'm Jacob Brown, and we'll see you next week.